The year was 1937. Some of the headlines of the year included the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge, Ronald Reagan made his film debut, and Amelia Earhart disappeared over the Pacific Ocean. But the highlight for our family happened on February 21st, when Henry and Sula Mitchell gave birth to our precious daddy, Frank Leroy Mitchell. He was their only child. Even though the world entered into war when he was only 2, he was blessed to grow up in the small town of Dalton, Georgia, where life was safe and a boy only 6 years old could walk over to the old Crescent Theater downtown, watch movies all day, and enjoy refreshments for only a nickel. One of my favorite stories he shared was from when he attended City Park Elementary School. It was near the end of World War II. His class had started the short walk over to the library, which was a block away, when a convoy of soldiers in military vehicles and tanks were driving down Old Highway 41. It was a very moving moment as they stood and watched the procession and the cheering crowd that had gathered up and down the street. Daddy went on to graduate from Dalton High School in 1955. He grew up working with his dad and followed in Grandpa Mitchell's footsteps to become a brick mason. They were considered artisans and were among the best in their field. Some of their work includes the World Carpet Building, the Learning Tree School, and the Kirk Mansion. In the early 60s, Dad enlisted in the Air National Guard, where he served for 6 years. His charm and good looks made him quite a ladies' man, but in 1961, he met his match, both literally and figuratively. Marjorie McNeese captured his heart, and they were married in early 1962. They married on our Mama's birthday, and he always teased her, saying she would never let him forget his anniversary. They were anxious to start their own family, so they didn't wait long to have me. Within a few years, they had bought their own home and were ready to add to their young family again. In 1969, we were blessed with my sister, Leanna, affectionately known as Lily. The summer of 1970 marked an eternal change for our sweet daddy. He'd been experiencing the conviction of the Lord for some time, and one evening he reached out to our pastor, Brother Roy Gentry. Pastor Gentry came over and led him to the Lord in the living room of our home. From that time, he faithfully followed the Lord and served in the church in various roles. He often joked that when he volunteered to join the choir, after he attended the first practice, they told him they really needed some security in the parking lot and asked him to fill in there instead of being in the choir. Daddy loved his girls, and he definitely enjoyed tea parties and Girl Scouts, but since he was an only child, he had always hoped to have a son to carry on the Mitchell name. You can imagine our excitement when my brother Mitch was born in 1972, and Mom declared our family was officially complete. Work, church, school activities, Little League, life was busy but wonderful. Our home was filled with love and laughter, and there was never a dull moment. As we grew up and married, our family began to be blessed with grandchildren, and then great-grandchildren. A lot of life happened between February 21st, 1937 and December 24th, 2020. Mother and Daddy bought, remodeled, and sold many homes, and after he transitioned from bricklayer to general contractor in the early 90s, they built and sold new construction homes. They had a wallpaper store, a fabric store, and owned and operated an events venue in a historic building. Through the years, Daddy stayed in touch with high school friends, and for the past several years, they met weekly for breakfast. Daddy jokingly referred to them as the Liars Club, and that was the best part of his week. Daddy loved to tell jokes and stories. One morning at breakfast, I secretly caught this one.
And we was riding it down that hill. I said, let's try it with our eyes closed.
Was it a little car that you could actually sit in?
Yeah, it's a little homemade deal
Little
made
wooden
out of
car.
wood, yeah.
Okay.
And all right. So he had the rope, and we got started coming down there. We got about halfway down the hill, and I opened my eyes. I says, "Turn it!" He jerked that rope. There we went.
Oh, no.
Down that pavement down through there. I was
Oh,
getting my
no.
arms all up.
Oh no.
It was in the summertime. Mama would let me go swimming with my arms healed up.
Oh,
And the pool was just right across the hill over there where Baldridge's lumber was.
there was a swimming pool where Baldridge Lumber is?
Yeah,
Oh,
city pool they used to call it. There was a lumber yard there then, right next door to it, and which Baldridge had all that later, and then they had the part where the old pool was at. It was all filled up and everything then, but yeah, that old pool, man, I just go across the hill. I was at the swimming pool.
oh, that's almost as good as having it in your backyard.
It's even better. You didn't have to fool with dipping the leaves out of it.
Yeah, taking care of it. After retirement, Dad began helping our brother in his trophy and awards business. He enjoyed making deliveries and just visiting with customers. He was always a people person and never too busy to help anyone who needed it. Our daddy showed a Christ-like kindness and care for others. He lived a life that we as children and grandchildren can be proud of and aspire to be like. Today, we celebrate him. Our time on earth is much like the making of a beautiful tapestry. People are the threads that are woven in and out of our lives that create the exquisite color and design that becomes who we are. Some weave through often, and their impression is very noted, while others are apart for only a short time, but all leave something behind. So whether you were a part of his life for a long time or a short time, we are grateful for your contribution to the masterpiece that is our Daddy's life.